What up, everybody? It's Lonnie here with Charts and Labs. Gonna bring you a video on TXC and the bots. They're getting very popular over in the community. So let's touch on them and get some extra clarity on some of the different ones. Before we get too far into this, I just want to remind everybody this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor or guru by no means, but I am just sharing my personal experiences and my personal knowledge that I have gained through messing with these. And I also am hoping to bring some familiarity to the exchanges, to the bot trading, to how liquidity in these markets are working, to give you the confidence that if you do choose to bring in your own money because you like the project, that you're able to dive in there confidently. Because crypto is risky and it is going to move pretty crazy. So you have to be aware of that when you're getting in. But let's jump in. So if you're getting onto Pinex, if you're in the US, you have to go to pinex.us to use it. And if you want to get into, um, if you're international, it's pinex.com. Sorry, let me get this turned off before I get blown up. Pinex.com for international, pinex.us if you live in the US. And then when you come in, you can go directly in and get your crypto transferred in. I suggest this way. This way is going to be the quickest and fastest if you're being able to on ramp your money through Coinbase or one of the tier 1 exchanges. Unfortunately, TXC is not on a tier 1 yet, so there is that delay. If you are wanting to go directly to Pinex and make it simple, you are able to deposit and use a debit card, and this is instant. There's just it's 2.9 plus 30 cents, so it typically will end up being around a 3 to 3.2% kind of fee for that. And then you have to be careful, like when you are doing it. Part of the AML, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, is that certain deposits have to be held and cleared before you can on and off ramp them from the exchange. So just be mindful of that. And then Pinex also is a smaller bank. Being a smaller exchange, they don't have the big bank support that Coinbase has. So if you are looking to get your money on and off very quick, it would be better to take USDT or USDC to Coinbase to on and off ramp, is just a personal suggestion. So if you get USDC, you have to convert it. If you get USDT, you're good to go. TXC is paired with USDT on the Pinex exchange. So whatever one you bring on, USDC or USDT, you'll start it here. Or if you deposit directly with a debit card or another transfer, you're changing this from USD. And then you want to convert it into USDT so that you can get in here and start your bots. When you come in, we're just going to go to the manual trading, which is spot trading, and this will kind of show you the market and price. And you can see that we've been kind of in a pretty hard downturn, but things are starting to kind of flatten here as sellers are probably exhausted. Sellers would probably rather sell at a higher price than $1.26. So that is working for a positive on getting this price back up. We see the moving averages are converging, and we're getting close to a support point in this. But when we're looking at these grid bots, what the grid bots are doing is they are providing some automatic trades and liquidity support. You got to remember that they're not going to automatically create profit. They're not, because they can't make trades happen without there being the other part of the trade. Trades are two-part. There has to be a sell order and there has to be a buy order. What these bots are doing is providing a more diverse liquidity pool by filling this book. When you go into one of these other exchanges that doesn't have the let's go into Biconomy. Biconomy is even one that has the market maker support in it, but that liquidity is getting very thin, and you're not seeing very much support for TXC in that. So when you look at this is the order book. Look how empty this order book is. We only have 5% of the order book has buys in it. 94.5% is sells. This is extremely low liquidity. There's no orders. So very very few coins move and the price can move drastically, which is concerning because not everybody's going to be able to go through and see all the order books to see um, that is what's causing it. So as we see, this is 128 and the highest bid is 103. So if I came onto Bioconomy wanting to sell, I would have to sell for 103. I wouldn't get 128. I would sell for 103. Just as if I wanted to buy, I couldn't buy for 128 and I wouldn't get a buy for 103. Um, it would oh, if it's 27, it looks like I actually could buy at 128.5. So that there is some order there, but you can see that this fills up very quickly. So if there was grid bot activity on Bioconomy and there was enough people who had it, this would be filled with fractional orders that we see in here, where the quantity is 0.63, 2, 2, 2, 3. So what this is doing is creating consistent volume because the price is moving in this range and not from 128 down to 103. It's actually staying in that 126, 127 range, which is healthy for the market to stabilize. So when the community is coming in and getting active and setting up these bots, what they're doing is providing some consistency in the market that is contributing to the strength of it, which is appealing for outside money. The biggest gripe on investing side of TXC outside of the mining shares is the extremely low liquidity that doesn't provide much support or strength in the market and at the price. So it's been very cool to see the community, rise up to that and learning this because there are plenty of people who weren't familiar with this. And that's kind of where I stepped in and wanted to start making some of these videos so that you can see it. So here's what you're going to do when you go into the bots. You have all these different bots, right? You can see that there's some that have strategies specifically, and you can gear them based on their platforms that they've already decided. When you're looking at the all strategy, sideways, bullish, bearish, those are strategies obviously set up for that type of pattern. So, and you're going to see that the grid trading bot is going to be used across all of them. So if you're kind of in the idea of, I just want to start building up a position, I want to keep adding, I'm going to add $20 a week or $100 a week or however you're doing, whatever your strategy is that you're comfortable with, most people are going to be using the grid trading bot. The martingale bot is like a dollar cost averaging one, where every time the price goes down, the next order, and like if you buy a half a coin at 150 and the price goes down to 125, your next order is going to be for one whole coin, and then if it goes down, your next order is for 2 coins, and then your next order is for 4 coins, and it wants to double down your position on each one to get you a good average. When we're looking for a bullish pattern, which means price is going up, the grid trading bot is there again. The rebalancing bot is one for multiple coins. So what you're doing is, say you really like XRP and you really like TXC, very different coins, and you're buying both, or you're looking at like XRP and LTC Litecoin. Because they are similar, you can buy both. And what you could do is you can say that I want to have 80% TXC and 20% LTC, and this is the money, and you put in the money, it'll automatically balance your portfolio to 80-20. Well, anytime that TXC goes up in profit and LTC comes down, it'll sell that profit, redistribute it so that your running balance is 80-20 TXC and LTC. That way, if one goes up or down, whatever the total amount of money in there, if you have $100, there's $80 of TXC and $20 of LTC. If you have $200 in the account because they've gone up in profit, you have $160 of TXC and $40 of LTC. So that's what a rebalancing bot will always do. It'll balance the profits from one to make up for the other. And then the other one is obviously for bearish patterns. The reverse grid bot, trailing buy, and the dollar cost averaging bots are ones that you can do. You can see that I actually started, since we've been in such a downtrend, is I actually closed out some of my regular grid bots, and I did a couple reverse grid bots just to kind of mess with them and see what and how they run and what works for them. I haven't determined a perfect parameter for them. I could show you what like this one is doing right now. I have one that's red, one that's green. These are gonna be I just did a 100 grid. Started at 134. I did an upper limit of 160 because I think that's where the pivot becomes bullish, is above 160, and it starts working back up. 0.5 is a low that it could get to, which is breaking down to like 6 TXC per grid. And this is actually selling the coin and then rebuying them back. To start one of these, you start with TXC, and then every time it dips down, every time it spikes up, it sells it, and then when it goes back down, it buys more. So this point of that one is to purely accumulate by selling first and then buying back second. In a bearish pattern like we have right now, this bot is going to be successful. And so while we're in this kind of down funk, I decided to test it out and get a couple running. And I will quickly pivot as soon as I see us get above one of these moving averages, where I will take one, because when you go in here and you stop the bot, and it says, are you sure you want to stop this TXC grid trading bot and let them buy back TXC with the USDT? Because this is a bearish strategy bot, the allocation is mostly in USDT. So when I hit stop, I can either stay with the money that I have, because it's going to be a percentage of it has TXC and a percentage of it has money to buy more as it comes down, and that's what this one's running to do. And so for that one, if I'm looking at it as a pivot point and I'm saying it's turning bullish, then yes, I'm going to convert it and say buy my TXC with this. And then I'm going to hold more TXC on the way up for that one. Now I have both of these. Let's close and close. When you when you're bullish and you have your grid bot, and I don't know if I have one actually right now. I think I canceled them all. I should have started one for this video beforehand. But two things to think about when you're looking at your bots that you do have in that detail section. If you ever see a yellow notification above it, that means that the price went outside of your parameter and the bot is paused. In order to get that active again, you would, if you want to, you would go in and adjust your low and your high price so that the price is within that range. So if you had a limit at 150 as your bottom, the price is below that, your bot is paused right now. So what you would do is, if you're comfortable with the bot trading at $1, which is a possible price that this can continue down to if things don't change. I mean, realistically, looking at TXC with the new indicator that I'm messing with, that I'm creating, we are right on this volume weight based on Bitmart. This is based off of Bitmart's volume and everything, not the total exchange. It's just that it's the largest volume. Getting above that could quickly create bullish momentum. And as you can see, when we have reclaimed over this trailing average line, price average, the momentum has pivoted to bullish. So we're not far from seeing TXC make a move up. So like having all these kind of bearish bots right now, like I'm on edge, ready to flip them to be bullish. Just want to see that positive move, and then we'll do that. But when you have yours, make sure that you're active if you want it to be. If you want it to go all the way down to $1, it'll start trading again and be active with what it's got. When you go to stop your grid bot, your custom grid bot, it's going to ask you if you want to sell everything and end the bot holding all USDT, or your other option is to just cancel all the orders and maintain your balance of TXC and USDT as is. That's a personal choice. That's however you feel, whatever you want to do. You can take the TXC, like say it's in a bullish pattern and it gets up here, and you have a grid bot running. You can cancel it to where you have TXC and USDT, and from that point use your TXC and create a reverse grid bot and try to capture some of the pullback and accumulate some more. And then once it pulls back a little bit, then you start a positive grid bot. So you can run both at the same time, especially when the price is kind of being sideways. And that might not be the worst strategy with TXC. Just right now, specifically being with this thin liquidity, there's hardly any orders going on with this, as it's trying to build its market. The mines being built and being sold are establishing the project and are establishing what we're trying to value. The market from the exchanges is establishing that value of what it is and what people are willing to pay. And right now, people are only willing to pay $1.20 for what they see. One thing to remember is that this is a proof of work coin being mined, started from zero. There was no pre-listed coins. So in order to get any of the coins that are off network onto the network, they have to be sold first. So if you're in a supply and demand economy kind of subject, instead of the buy until sells start, there's sells until buy start. So TXC is always going to be kind of in a pullback first and then move up. Pullback first and then move up, just by design, and it's not the only coin to do that. And it's going to be like that until there's enough coins that are in circulation. Right now there's 61.78 million coins in circulation. But we're trading less, or on average, plus or minus right around 100,000 coins a day. So we're nowhere near even 10% of the circulating supply out in the market. Most of these are held in cold storage wallets because 90% of the people, if not more, I would imagine, in this project are miners only, and most of those people only have bought one or a few seats. The participation in the affiliate program has some strong team building and some people who are great in the network sales. Those guys are having a time of their life. Majority of the people aren't selling this, and they're working on just building their mining distribution, and they're looking to be a part of the project in case it works and becomes fully operational and becomes a great long-term play, and that's what they're looking for. So everybody has their idea of what they're looking for in this project, and one thing that we are seeing is the market being established. This was very mechanical and very dependent on TXC providing the liquidity that was motivating enough to get the coins off of people's cold wallets and into the market. And a lot of this was also probably TXC itself putting coins into the market, trying to find buyers. If you look at the exchanges, these are all tier 1 exchanges, or I'm sorry, excuse me, not tier 1 exchanges. These are all tier 2 or even tier 3 exchanges like these guys that don't support or don't report enough data to CoinMarketCap to be appealing to any kind of big crypto guy. This is still a very, very high risk speculative play, and every day it's getting better. The mine's getting built. We saw a huge uptick in the terahash output as Conroe came online, or is starting to come online. So that's very optimistic looking. I don't know what the exact benchmark bottom is on what the layer 2 network is going to be dependent on, but with merge mining Litecoin and TXC at the same time, and then also attempting to mine Doge, those are practices that are getting established right now in order for the long-term goal of when the project is fully built out, because there's going to be no more mine seat sales coming in. So profit earned today has to be kind of saved for the future, because we don't know what the mining output of Litecoin and Doge is going to be, depending on the demand on the layer 2 network. So the reason the mine has to be built out is to make sure that there is an established strong enough network to be able to continue mining TXC, mining Litecoin and Dogecoin at a high enough efficiency that it's worth paying the operations and expenses like the utility bills and stuff, and then also being able to run the downtown digital dollars or the community currencies or any of the other layer 2 projects that could come on board with this, that would put a demand and a burden on the network. So as that terahash increases and these layer twos can test run the network and see what the demand is or the burden is, could really create a utility demand that shows a better value for this project. The market right now is very skeptical of the value right now, and we see that the price is coming all the way back down to what it was prior, and that's a lot to do with, again, very few participation in the market because everybody's mining. As more and more people that are mining look at the value in this and they see that the potential of the project is still um, being built out, the mine is still being built out, and layer twos are still being worked out, there's still potential. So then they come into the market and they can buy more coins. You know, right now with mining yield being under half a coin or about half a coin or whatever it is, I haven't checked the last couple days. I don't check mine every day, uh, but the last couple times it's been around half a coin or so. Um, but you're able to buy. You can buy 10 for 12 bucks, or you could buy 20 for 25 bucks. Probably right now, because you're probably gonna have to go through the order book a little bit to get that filled because it's so thin. You know, looking at less than $200 is gonna move the price 2%. That is crazy. How little the money that it would take to move the price temporarily. But if you're looking at $25 giving you 20 tokens, and if you're only getting about half a coin a day per 100 hash, that's 40 days worth of mining for a week's worth of Starbucks. So there's quite a few people who are seeing this value and are looking to come on and jump in and start on the investment side. And then there's also a lot of people who are participating that have never done any kind of trading or exchange stuff that solely just want to support this project. And that's one of the coolest things about TXC that I've seen from a project is how strong the community of people that are in it are wanting this thing to succeed. So looking for these red clouds to turn green and see some of this upward price, and then the consistency. Selling will always be consistent in a coin like Texacoin. And every coin always has selling, but the balance of buying will determine what the price becomes. And right now we have less activity as buyers, and with the uncertainties and doubts of the price and holidays and all the other burdens and stuff that could be going on, you know, there's kind of no safe crypto right now, because even if you go into the biggest one that is Bitcoin, who do we want to use? Let's use Coinbase so we can see that average. We are starting to see some bullish momentum pick up and pivot, and it's right around this average, but there has not been a very good crypto market since October. So TXC is not in a vacuum in that regards either. The whole market is down pretty drastically. You know, you could overlay, I believe I can add another, that's my indicator. I wanted to add another chart. I know there's a way how I haven't messed with it. I don't want to take up too much, because that'll just start a whole nother video, and this will be an hour-long video. But to my point, crypto markets are down. If you look at it, I think I saw something like the entire market was down at least 6% on the year. That includes a huge run up and then a pull all the way back down. So there is a lot of uncertainty. Risk assets struggle during financial uncertainties. And then of risk assets like crypto coins, the newest, youngest project on the block that's the most speculative, that's still trying to build the entire project, that has all the questions and uncertainties and doubts, is going to get hit hard during these. And this is a pretty defiant down channel that the community is going to decide what the value is at some point and step in. And once, you know, I really think that layer 2, that digital dollar, the utility, a lot of things with crypto coins is, are you a meme coin that's nothing but a hype and a pump, or are you really going to have some utility? and the fact that TXC has the potential of being a utility network presents an opportunity for people to want to jump in. And if you see that, that's your risk. That's what you're buying. You know, the the bashers love bringing up the path to 16. I know that there's a lot of people who bought solely because of that path to 16, thinking that it was a guarantee and they were going to get rich quick because they were going to throw in $10,000 and then they were going to cash out for $100,000 in 3 months. And that was very euphoric and not realistic. And I think a lot of people are seeing that that was um, a very ambitious goal, and it's unfortunate that a lot of people bid into that as a promise. And uh, not saying that 16 is off the table, not saying that 80 is off the table, but those are all potentials that require a lot of good things to happen. And you know, sales will cure this as people come back on and have some faith in the project. That will create the liquidity to help support the price, which will help support everything. And the mine being built shows that this is still a real project. You know, we can see pictures of the mine and the tubs, and that's all going. So TXC, definitely a risky asset. So no promises kind of thing, but there's a ton of potential. The utility could be huge. Texas likes, you know, that community focus and small business oriented. Would love to see it. I think it would be a phenomenal concept and something that I mean personally believe in. I like that idea and would love to see it get back up into this range after getting over this range. You know, this price range of 423 to 637. I mean, on a realistic side, within 3 months would be phenomenal. But you know, I don't want to say any day because it's got to go through all of this first, and then that's going to be very resistant. But to get into this range, I think that value will showcase a lot of new miners. The idea that this project is coming along, and has that potential, and to get back into this price range. Let me make it orange so it stands out from the blue downtrend. So sorry I jumped onto that. You know, there was just a lot of chatter going on the last couple days, and there was a specific request to touch on the bots again and give a little bit of a highlight to these guys. One more time, I know we briefly talked about the reverse grid bots on the Q&A Zoom calls, and we didn't get too deep into them. But we were on the verge of a positive move. We were in this kind of movement, and there was some attempts to get over 220, and a reverse grid bot at that time when we were talking about it would have lost if this continued. It wouldn't have been a big gainer. And then once we kind of hit this point down, you know, Thursday or so, that's the only time that these reverse grid bots have kind of showed to be profitable. But they're a little bit more risky. You know, for the average person, I think the familiarity is stronger with just building your grid bot. You're providing the liquidity and support into the market, and as you build it out and the price recovers back up into the $3 range, $4 range, as projects unfold, and then your bot is profitable, you'll see a lot more liquidity coming in. You'll see more people bringing in the investments, people jumping on these bots, and a consistent market value will bode well for a project like this to outside investors. You know, getting CoinMarketCap verified, getting on a tier 1 exchange, getting consistent liquidity and volume and price. Those are three things that all have to happen kind of at the same, well, all contribute to all of them happening, and those are big deals for the price. Until any of those really happen, the price is going to be probably on the south side of 3 until those happen, and it's establishing a market, and it's kind of testing. It's a test of the strong hands on who believes in the project. The people that really believe are going to have great buying opportunities to come up with, to be able to add to their holding. And there's going to be some people who lost faith and got out, and then are going to look back and possibly regret if things get righted. But yeah, test of your faith right now as the market is pushing down. Could it be a great opportunity? You have to believe in the project, and the mine being built consistently and getting bigger is a big support of that faith for a lot of people, I think. So cool to see. Hopefully the network is getting strong enough that they can maybe test some of these layer 2s. I would love to throw my hat in the ring for that one. I have a layer 2 ready to roll that would be not quite as big as a whole community, not quite big as a whole city dollar. So maybe it could test the network out and see those the burdens that it places on it, and see how well it continues mining with some token traffic. So my hat's in the ring to try it. Hoping that they can get that going, because that'll be the big bullish turn to get this back up to a positive run, and see where we're gonna get. But 241 will be that spot where we can see that positivity rolling. So sorry for the super long video again. I tried to stay on topic with just the bots, but had too much to talk about. Hope my insight is giving you guys the confidence and familiarity to be active in this, especially all of those that are looking at being active in the TXC side. I do see you guys getting there. PionX's volume is the most consistent right now and is growing. Nice seeing it in the top 3. Unfortunately, it's still a very small number. Would love for PionX to outpace DexTrade. And it's going to be tough to outpace Bitmart with the market maker in there. But the market maker is also in MEXC and Biconomy. And if you combine those two, PionX still trumps them. So very, very cool to see the community getting active and creating that, especially when you look at these order books and see that, PionX has the most consistent order book. Bitmart's is pretty solid. I know a lot of people on the international side are looking for the grid trading bots for TXC. There's some people who cannot use PionX. PionX is just offering it for free. Bitmart does now offer, this is a new feature that recently came online, that they are offering the grid trading bot, but they do not offer it for TXC yet. So again, that's probably a liquidity thing. Maybe after some decent sales, we could see the market makers jump up on the liquidity pool and boost Bitmart enough to where TXC triggers on that name. But that's where I would look. If you aren't trying to download and buy a third-party one, I would keep your eye on Bitmart to see when they offer it. So sorry for you international guys, and I'm sorry for how long this video ended up being, but I am going to try to jump off and see if this was good enough for the guy who was requesting it. And if anybody else has any other questions, I'll try to get a video to stay on topic without going crazy now that I got this one out of the way. So excited to see what this indicator does next week. I'm excited about this. So thanks for all the support and comments, guys. I'm glad I'm helping. I'm glad to see people taking, their money, keeping their money in their own hands and making a deal, trying to build some wealth. That's what we're all here for. I hope everybody wins. And if you have any other questions or want to see something specific, please let me know. I love making these videos and talking about this stuff, which is why they always end up being so much longer than planned and off topic. Probably my ADD. But anyway, have a good day, guys.